Hey everyone. So this is stage 3. Um, Continued. So as I was saying, in the last video, by the time I was in high school, my episodes I was having became at its worst. I started having more and more anxiety. A lot of people thought it was, different things causing my problem because no one could figure out what it was. And deep down, I always knew what it was because I was aware of my family history, you know, because it's inherited. And within each generation, there has been a family member that has inherited it. So I knew this. And I knew the symptoms I was having wasn't normal, um, regardless of what anyone else thought or said about it. So I became really depressed. Started in middle school up through high school. I was hospitalized a few times in the psychiatric hospital. Because I could no longer cope with my feelings and emotions. I was having emotional troubles. Um, so high school was extremely at its worst, was extremely difficult. I would never go back there. I never wished to go back to high school because of the trauma I had experienced when I was in high school. So I don't miss it. I would never want to go back there. Um, I have a better friendship with people I kept in touch with from when I was in school now than I did when I was in school. So it's just, I wouldn't want to go back. Um, so, um, I was very stressed. I was very aggravated. I had a lot of depression. So, um, lost my train of thought. Um, After seeing so many doctors, I finally seen one in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, at UPMC, and this was when I was 17 years old in 2009. At that time, I was finally prescribed a medication that multiple doctors refused prescribing me, even though I had a positive family history of this condition. They were just so hung up in wanting the proof that I had the condition. Um, my brain scans, no one would go for prescribing me this medication, exozolamide, to control the dizziness from my condition. And it was so debilitating, it left me suffering. And I had no control over it. And it was the medical system's doing. It had nothing to do with me. So basically they tortured me my young life. So this is where most of my frustration and anger comes from. Every time I think of the medical system and doctors is because I had a traumatic history and experience with it. It was so wrong. It was so bad. And it's not something I would want to repeat or wish on anyone and to go back. Um, it was just a terrible experience. So, um, with that being said, after being prescribed the medication, back then, when I was 17 years old, I was suspected finally to have episodic ataxia type 2. And I was given the medication and it helped my dizzy spells, my episodes I was having. I was symptom free. For a good amount of years, I have not had one episode. And that took a big turnaround on me eventually when in 2017. So, but between then, 2009 and 2017, I went without having an episode. So, yeah. I think that's all in that stage of my journey. I don't know if I really don't want to miss anything. Any important info. But, But I think that covers the majority of it. So, it's just been a long, drawn out experience. And I still wasn't even officially diagnosed in 2009 when I received the medication. So, they wanted to do genetic testing, but they wanted to wait until I was at least 18 years old to do it. But in the meantime, I ended up switching doctors, neurologists, and left that one. And it just kind of went by the wayside. My family wanted me to see a neurologist that was closer to home because going back and forth to Pittsburgh was a little bit too much at the time. So, yeah. So it was just put on the wayside in regards to that. So, yeah. I had headaches a lot. I still have headaches a lot. As well. I would see double, I would get double vision. I would not be able to see clearly and stuff. My eyes would cross. Before, I was referred to a neurologist in Pittsburgh. I was actually went to see an eye doctor, okay, because I was having eye problems. I was having vision problems with my vision during my episodes, and I was, my eyes would become misaligned. They would go in different directions. So, and this would only happen during the vertigo episodes at the time. So I went to see the eye doctor that specializes in eye diseases and whatnot. So he asked me to come in during one of my episodes. He didn't want to examine me in between. He just advised me to come in during to kind of like witness it and just take a look in my eyes and just kind of like see what was happening with my eyes during an episode. And so I did. I threw up in the parking lot though, and I ended up going into the office during an episode. So, he looked into my eyes and told me it was neurological. Later on that day, after being there, I ended up having to go to the emergency room to kind of like get checked out because it was so bad. So I ended up going there. And that's when I finally got in touch with Pittsburgh to go down there and to get checked out. And that's when I was put on the medication.